three. And we are live.
Yeah.
We like right now. Welcome everybody to Purpose Over Pain podcast. This is our 5th episode. Woo! Yay! Woo! Woo! Woo!
Hey.
This episode, we will be talking about being Black in corporate America. I know that a lot of us have that experience, being Black in just in corporate America in general. But then also when you take a look at the a leadership role and that type of thing. So we'll get into that. I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Let's introduce our guest that we have today. And this is Ray's. This is my brother.
Hey.
This is my blood brother. This is not, how they be like, oh yeah, this what's up, bro?
That was my play cousin.
Yeah, no. This is blood. This is my blood brother. So we are here. I'll let him tell a little bit about himself to start.
So I'm Ray's Norris. Some people might have known me off of Facebook. Years of being wild, raunchy, disrespectful, talking trash, but also being on some empathetic and just trying to give people good life advice. I've been through a lot, so I figure if I can share how I done screwed up and how I learned from my screw ups, to help other people not have to go through that. What did Jay say? Jay did that, so you won't have to go through that.
Right.
That's been my thing for a minute now. So yeah, I'm just honored that sis reached out and invited me to come join our podcast because especially on this topic, because this is something that I've known quite well for the last 15 years, and it's definitely been a culture shock for me from day one. So thank you for inviting me to your podcast. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm glad. I'm so glad you jumped on it. I'm because I know that you are in corporate, and I know we share a lot of the same sentiments. So as I started kind of like looking at this topic, I wanted to not only talk about personal experiences, but I kind of wanted to look up like some statistics.
Okay.
Because I love history, I love research, I love doing all of that good stuff. Because I like to know what I'm talking about.
Oh, no doubt.
So one of and I left my notepad. So I do.
We gonna wing it.
That's how my mind work. Like I do all of this stuff, and then it's like, boop, you forget. Okay. Anyway.
Hey, I enjoy the fact that I ain't got to drive. So I'm gonna just go along for the ride. I'm gonna let you steer, do all of that.
All right. All right.
See, look at you.
So sorry, y'all.
See, my phone be dry.
It's my kid. Okay.
All right.
So statistically, it says that what I looked at basically said that out of corporate America, 3% are in leadership.
Okay.
Like 3% of and again, my notepad is gone, but 3% of them are African Americans.
Okay.
Which I think is terrible.
Yep.
But then it said even going on a higher leadership level, it's like less than 1%.
So higher leadership level, we talking about like C-suite,
CEO.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So when I read that, I said, I was just like, dang, like that's kind of messed up, know? And it's like, but in my experience, so let me just back up and say, so my experience, I've been in corporate America. If somebody was to ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up, it wasn't necessarily, I want to be a doctor, I want a lawyer. No, it was literally, I want to be I could see myself as being a Black woman in corporate America, walking through with my heels, with my boots. Yep. Weird. Yeah. I don't know. But that was what I wanted at the time, or either owning my own business. Go figure.
And look at you now.
Right. So we ain't all the way there, but we we
Oh
climbing.
no,
we almost.
You there.
So with that being said, I basically went from, working in customer service. Like I've done everything customer service. And then at one point, I saw a Black woman come into the office, and she really demanded the room. She demanded, and she was in leadership. And I said, you know what? I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
I could do that because I know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So I know my job. I come to work and I work. So I got with her. She ended up being my supervisor. I said to her, this is what I want to do. And I think I want to stop there because I think that's important, because a lot of us don't know or don't realize that we can actually go into a situation and we can not so much demand, but we can absolutely negotiate and talk about what we want.
Yep.
What do you think about that?
So first of all, I want to take a step back real quick. So you mentioned the statistics at the start, and I love the fact that you dug deeper into the statistics and you separated African American, Black versus people of color, because they like to use that to lump all of us together. And I'm even using us as a as a bucket.
Right.
Because in reality, if you look at people of color as a whole, them statistics are totally different. Exactly. It'll be more like 20%, 30%, something like that. But we know that's a farce, because to us, we look around, and we don't even be there.
Right.
Like if you look at where we at in the building, we're only talking about real low level spots, right? Like we talking about the call centers, we talking about the mail rooms, stuff like that. Now, getting to your point about the leadership, I think you're spot on with that. It sucks that we don't even get those opportunities. Like it seems like myself, for example, right? I've been working in corporate IT for about 15 years now. And I started off, just a regular support role, desk side support, going from this person's got a problem with their email, this person got a problem with, they Excel ain't opening up right. Or something, they laptop is going slow. Right. All that sort of stuff. And that's not to take nothing away from that, because there's a lot of good brothers that I know that are doing those positions and excelling at those positions. But the problem is when we get in positions like that, getting that foot in the door, like that's kind of like where we get stuck at. We get in the door and they talk to us and treat us like we just supposed to be happy with being in the door, right? Opposed to being in the door to get more.
Right.
So here I am 15 years later, and I'm still not in a leadership position. Now, to be fair, personally speaking, I don't know if I want that.
Yeah.
Like that's the other aspect of it too, is like, I don't know, because there's so much politics involved and there's so much cultural, there's so many cultural aspects of it where, how you walk in a room and people, you say, that person don't know how to talk to nobody. That's a lot of what I've been surrounded by.
Right.
So a lot of times I find myself in positions where, like, I'm in a room, I'm in a big meeting, and like there's this person, that person, or whatever, and they just throwing all kind of barbs and whatnot back and forth at each other. But I'm sitting here and I'm just like, I wouldn't stand for that.
Right.
So now I have to change the way I act in this environment because it's not welcoming to us. I'm probably going off the rails a little bit. I apologize.
No, you good.
But like, that's been my biggest thing, is dealing with the politics and dealing with the cultural politics of corporate America, because whether it's white, whether it's Middle Eastern, whether it's European, because I've also worked for global corporations too. It's that when we deal with each other on a professional level, there is a camaraderie.
What the fuck is that noise?
Sound like the water pipe. I ain't worried about that. But it's like when we get in the table, we have to be productive because I think we all get in the room and we realize, okay, now that I'm in here, I have to prove why I'm here.
Yeah, and that
or justify even why I'm here.
I think we have to stop doing that. But I mean, I think I do it almost on a daily.
Yep.
So in my experience, as a supervisor of a call center, and that's still, I still look at it as kind of lower level leadership, but all in all, it's still leadership.
Oh, absolutely.
I have interactions with the vice president, all of that good stuff. And so I find myself a lot of times, and even dealing with being a Black woman in general, I remember one point, so I was a trainer, which in my call center life, I have never pretty much seen a Black woman that was a trainer.
Yep.
And then I went to supervisor. So with that, it's like, they're seeing your growth. And even, this was along the time, it's been with different companies, but right now the trainer and supervisor, same company. So it's like, you have some people that seen you, as a trainer, as a supervisor now, or even previously when I was a claims specialist. So it's like, I know what I'm doing. Like even in the claims specialist position, I was the only Black woman. Right. There was no other Black person in the building. And when I would, or not in the building, but in that department. Yeah. And then at one point, one of the managers, he would always make it a point to come in and say, you didn't say hi, or so at this particular position, we could, before COVID, we could work at home.
Right.
You gave me a laptop.
Yep.
Shorty taking advantage. I'm working from home.
Right.
But then at the same time, for me, I'm going to get my shit done.
Right.
Like I'm like from 8 to 10, Shorty working.
Did you ever feel like it was like eyes on you extra when you was working at home versus
only because he made me feel that way.
Right. Okay.
Because he would say, oh, you weren't here yesterday again. I would respond and say, check my mailbox.
Right.
My mailbox is empty.
Yep.
Which means I'm done.
Right. Just because I wasn't here don't mean I wasn't doing nothing.
Exactly. Yep. And so I went to my immediate supervisor, and I had a meeting with her and I said, hey, like this, I can't do that.
Right.
Every time I come in, you're saying, and I think he kind of liked me a little bit.
Okay.
Which that's fine. I don't really, I don't do that.
Right.
But that's neither here nor there. What you're not going to do is you're not going to make me feel uncomfortable.
Right.
So I had to go to my supervisor and say, hey, this is making me feel uncomfortable. Because he even got to the point where he came to my desk and sat on my desk. I eat over here. I don't eat with y'all.
Right.
I don't want your booty juice on my desk because I eat over here and I eat good, damn it. Like we be having spreads.
Right.
I don't need that. And he like moved and I ended up turning my chair and he tried to turn my chair back. And I was like, okay, you know what? You crossing the line.
So no, that's something that I obviously have never had to deal with. Right. And I think a lot of times that like persons, I'll speak personally, not try to be umbrella with it, but like personally, I've always wondered. I know that there's always the negative stigmas around Black men, right? Like we can't be too emotional because then they think we angry all the time, intimidating. Now I'm barely 5'1.5" something, right? How am I intimidating anybody in a corporate setting, right? But beyond those boxes that they put us in, I've always felt extra about the sisters that have been, you know, in the spaces that I work in,
Mm-hmm.
because there's that extra sexist level too,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I work for this one company, and there were two women in particular, not black,
Mm-hmm.
who definitely had that whole black man fetishizing kind of vibe to them.
Right.
Very, very, you know, invasive of my personal space, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, as a man,
bitch, move.
Right. But you still even gotta play the role
Right.
to a certain degree there,
Mm-hmm.
because then you know they'll you know make up whatever.
Right.
But it's different as a woman, because obviously, like, they can victimize y'all.
Yeah.
On a physical level.
Mm-hmm.
So you referencing, like, you thinking that dude liked you a little bit, like, like how did you really like balance that, I guess?
Because I'm very blunt, and because I'm aware of what goes on in corporate. I literally started studying what the white people do.
Okay.
I started studying what they do a very long time ago. And so with me being in corporate since I was 18 and I'm 41, and I look good. But with me being in corporate so long, I start to study them and how they move and how they maneuver.
Yeah.
Number one, when I come with, like I said, I went to my supervisor when he immediately said, you know, did what he did, and I you know, you went.
So
over
you nipped it.
Yeah, immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like literally as soon as he left from my desk, I went to my supervisor and I said, I need to talk to you now.
Okay.
You know, and I told her and I said, I don't do that. But in any situation, because there's been other situations where I didn't feel like, you know, were in my favor or presented, you know, I was described as being, you know, those words, sassy.
Difficult.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, she's sassy. Hold on, bitch. Who you calling sassy? I'm finna show you sassy.
And ain't sassy something that you refer to like a child as? Okay.
And so in that situation, I went to my manager.
Okay.
And I said, I was described as sassy to the training class. The training class.
Right.
When they asked about, oh, how was this supervisor? How was that supervisor? But the white trainer was described as a nerd. Oh.
Nice choice of words. Switch.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And so my manager, when I talked to her, I said, hey, I said, this is what happened. And I said to her, I said, let me explain to you why this hurt me. So I've learned that every time you come with something, there has to be facts.
Yep.
It has to be facts.
Well said.
You cannot come with something in corporate. And really I've started to apply it in just any life.
Keep the emotion out of it.
Yeah. Yep. Keep the emotion out of it and come with facts. This is why I didn't like what was said. Because I'm gonna give you a history lesson.
Let's do it.
Back in the day, you know, when I hear sassy, I hear, oh, don't you sass me.
Yep.
And then I want to say, who the fuck you talking to?
Yep.
Because for me, no, we just don't talk to me any old kind of way.
Right.
I just, you know, I just don't do that. And so her response was, she first said, thank you. She said, even though I kind of knew what you meant or why you were offended, I appreciate the fact that you explained it to me and that you educated me a little bit further. Great, no problem. Now at this point, I don't know what you gonna do with her,
right? Because
I've been telling you for the past year that she's been out of line during these training classes, and you're gonna have to do something about that,
right?
I got the supervisor position. 2-3 weeks later, she was no longer put in the front of the training classes. You got to simmer down. You got to simmer down.
So what are some? So you say on one end you go straight to HR, for example, right? You nip that in the bud right off the top. We ain't playing that, right? Now, I'm assuming in your 20 years plus of experience that there's been other times where maybe you weren't so quick to go to HR. What were some of those differences? Like in those scenarios, what were some of the factors that dictated, you know what I'm saying, you feeling comfortable enough to go and tell somebody to nip that in the bud, so to speak, versus the times where you just kind of let it rock and dealt with it, I guess?
Because I think as someone that was not in leadership, I really didn't feel like I had too much of a voice to say anything.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it literally wasn't until I met this lady, and literally this lady, she's a supervisor at the company that I work for now. We don't work like in, we don't have any, we'll talk here and there, but we're on two different teams.
Right.
But, just to see that came full circle, but it wasn't until I met her, somebody that you really feel that got your back.
So she kind of empowered you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Whereas before, I would just cuss you out.
Right.
I mean, and let the chips fall where they may. Because I it is what it is.
Right.
One thing about me, I'm gonna get a job.
Yep.
One thing about me, I'm gonna make some money. I'm gonna work. I got 4 kids.
Right.
I got to do something.
Now, but being that we talk about being Black in the corporate world, we can't just leave it at,
that's true,
we gonna get a job, because we ain't talking about jobs no more. Once we get to this level, we talking about careers, right? Do you, all right, so like my first IT gig, right? I walked in the door and I'm like, I'm not even supposed to be here, right? Like I'm looking around the room. I was literally the only Black person in the whole company. The whole company. Now, granted, the company was only about 150, 175 people. Still a lot. But I was the only Black face in the whole company. 3 different buildings, only Black person.
I know you were uncomfortable.
Oh, I hated that shit. I hated it. But to my credit, I tried to bring in more cats. So like I reached out to a couple cats that I went to high school with, like, hey, it's this opportunity. I know you went to school for IT, Oh, by the way, I didn't go to school. So I didn't finish college. I didn't get no degree. So I'm walking in the door. I'm the only Black person in the company. Everybody's like, why are you here? So I'm on one end feeling like I'm not even supposed to be there.
Right.
And then I got people looking at me like I'm not supposed to be there. I felt like I had to represent for us. And that's probably the most fucking unfair thing that we have to deal with in a lot of these situations, is feeling like I'm not just Ray's Norris. I'm not just Steve or Marquise Norris. I'm Black people. For a lot of these people. And honestly, for like the years that I've been in this world, existing in this world, trying to cohabitate in that world, that's definitely been a factor in affecting my performance. Like I know I could have, up to this point in my career, now granted, I'm a senior engineer right now. So I'm way above where a lot of us even have the opportunities to get to, thankfully. Again, without no college degree. I don't know how I did it, but I pulled the shit off.
Baby.
And I'm still making it work.
Right.
But the point is, I feel like that dampened my voice. Now, outside of them buildings, oh, you can't tell me shit. But when I get in that world for a long time, honestly, until probably the last 5 or 6 years, really, I felt like I gotta pull back. I can't be Ray's in these buildings. I gotta be Marquise. I gotta be Steve in these buildings.
And you know
it
what?
Ain't fair.
And I even go as far as when so we have team chats, and with my team, I talk how I talk to my team. I of course, I'm professional, all that good stuff, but they know me,
right?
You know what I mean?
Right. See, and I got caught in the code switching.
And see, I mean, I think I code switch. I do code switch, but sometimes it comes out. Now, I think that it's I think that me being comfortable I think that helped a little bit more, like with the George Floyd situation that came about.
Yeah.
Because remember when that happened, I mean, corporate America was on fire.
Oh yeah.
Everybody had like a slogan, everybody had classes. I remember we had a mandatory Saturday training. And the good thing about the company that I work for, which is why I'm so up in arms over this, corporate life versus entrepreneurship, because I love this company that I work for. But I knew that they will react quick, because they react quick with everything, and it's with good intent.
Okay, so you felt it was genuine.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's what's up.
Just because of the different things that they had in place before that happened. Then when COVID hit, they gave us like additional days off. It was just great. It was just wonderful. Word. Now we all working at home. Just great. But when that happened and we took that class, what I was even more proud of was that it was 2 Black women, and I can't recall the name of the company, but it was 2 Black women that were teaching that class, and that was their company. That's what they did. Okay. And so as I was sitting there, and we all, we got our little chats and stuff, and chat is going, and and I'm looking at people, and I'm looking for comments of the people that I directly work with. Right. And some of them, I'm sitting back like, yep. I'm like, yep. LOL. Right. And so it was interesting around that time. And so I think even more so that gave us maybe a voice, even more to say, no, you're not going to talk to me like that. Right. Or, I think this is wrong, because there's some people who, I've been a people pleaser the majority of my life. I'm not anymore. Good to know you. Nice. You got grown. Absolutely. Because fuck you. Yep. And there's still some people that are people pleasers. And I just, like, I sit and I listen in these meetings and I'm like, whoa. Like, whoa. Right. She just said that to you. Like, okay. So time out. Let me jump in real quick. So I'm gonna bring some contrast to that. Now, first of all, let me say I love the company I work for right now. I think a big part of me growing into liking this company and then eventually loving this company is the fact that culturally they go out of their way to find good people. They refer to it as, being a talent first company, but I think it's more culture first. Yeah. The talent definitely is a key factor, but at the end of the day, you can't have comfort without people just genuinely being good from a fundamental level. Right. Now, with that said, when the George Floyd stuff happened, and all of a sudden Black Lives Matter is the slogan of everywhere we go, right? You can't escape it, right? Whether you for or against it don't even matter. It was everywhere. You couldn't avoid it. So me being one of the less than a handful of brothers and sisters that work for this company, I got reached out to directly by our HR department, by one of the reps from our HR department. And they get to talking about, this whole, we're going to do this, cultural awareness initiative thing. And, we really want to make all of the people in this company feel comfortable. And now I've been through a lot and I've seen a lot. And if it's one thing I can smell, it's some bullshit. So when I get this call, I'm like, okay, this sounds cool. Right. This sounds like the right thing. Matter of fact, this sounds dope as fuck. I'll call it what it is, right? If it was real. Right. So now I'm thinking, okay, it's like June, July. We got everything else going on. Let's just see. Right. And a month passes by. I don't see no emails. I don't get no more calls. 3 months go by. Oh, they sent out an email, a follow-up about this. That's cool. Talk about a committee. They putting together a cultural awareness committee and da-da-da-da. Okay, cool. Wow. I'm thinking
Well, they done called me. They went out of their way to call me.
Right.
Maybe I might find my way on this committee somehow, right? Because if you ain't got but a couple brothers and sisters working for this company, you got to have at least a couple of us on this committee, right? How you gonna be made aware?
Right. if we not there. Bars.
So now 6 months go by. Cricket. Nothing. Now that was 2 strong years ago and some change, right? Nothing ever happened.
Wow.
Nothing ever became of it. And I felt like as much as I love the company and the lifestyle that the company has afforded me and my family, at the same time, I felt like y'all ain't have to bother me with that shit, like at all. I felt like I was set up almost to be a pawn potentially. If things would have continued to go down that path of Black Lives Matter becoming a bigger initiative, just culturally in this company or country, I should say, I feel like them reaching out to me, like I would have been one of them black faces on a pamphlet, right?
Oh yeah, we definitely would have.
You know what I'm saying? They don't really give a shit, but as long as you can stand here for the photo op,
right,
or be in the videos and make it look like we on top of this,
right?
So I'm real happy to hear that, like in your situation, that it was actually coming from a genuine place and that they actually put action behind what they were talking about. Because in my case, for as great as the company is, for as fantastic as the things that they do for all of their employees there, it's like that aspect is still sus.
Yeah, because I think there were a lot of companies that they took hold of the idea because it was trending. It was
exactly,
it was the issue at the moment. And then they let it go. The company that I work for, they have like a lot of different cultural groups.
Okay.
So like I said, that was in place prior to. So I wanted to switch gears because I wanted to talk about leveling up. I wanted to talk about how. Okay, so simply because, like I see, we see so many things on social media, and it was so funny. My cousin, one day she put up a status and she said, Black supervisors are the worst.
Ooh.
And when she said that,
and you sitting right there,
I was like, wow.
And
it was so many, it was so many people that were commenting. They were like, And so I took that and I was talking to our sister.
Yep.
And I said, and she said the same thing. She said, wow. I was like, yeah. But when I commented, I was like, hey.
Right.
But I think that being a Black supervisor, is a Black woman supervisor, is so hard because you have that, I'm constantly trying to prove myself.
Yep.
I'm trying to prove myself to my Black agents. Well, actually to all of my agents. I even have a couple guys, that I have to kind of remind who I am.
Yeah.
I had to have a couple of those conversations. Go into meeting, please. Go into meeting off when you get off that call, please. And then there's I'm sorry, Okay, let me remind you,
right?
Of who I am, and again, what my experience is,
right?
And so when we go and we look at being a supervisor, there's I have a couple of friends. They're like, I ain't doing that. I'm not doing that. And even you yourself, you say I don't even know if that's something that I want to do.
Right.
What makes you say, and I know that it's a personal choice, and it is what it is. But when you don't want to be, I don't know how to ask this, because for me, I have a year or two max in a position.
Okay.
And I'm literally I'm done.
Okay.
And I don't know if that speaks to my entrepreneurial side,
right,
or it's just that I just want to be a goddamn boss.
and that might be it, because
well, both.
No, but I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me,
mm-hmm.
I love having my hands in the clay, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I love doing,
mm-hmm.
and the bureaucracy, the politics, all of that sort of stuff, the Game of Thrones, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like people enough to be in those rooms consistently. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
I would rather, you know what? Let me give you my input.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I feel like from a technical standpoint, or like, you know what I'm saying? The right decision to go about, the right way to go about building this, that, or the other, designing that thing. Let me give my input and let you go fight those battles with them people, because I don't feel like sitting in there, because if they disrespect me, I'm gonna walk out the door.
Right. But you know what? I think I felt like, because in the last couple of positions that I had as a customer service rep, I was basically put in a leadership role, but I wasn't getting the money for it. So I said, guess what? If you're going to have me doing leadership type shit, you're going to give me some money.
Right.
Got to. You're going to give me some money. Yeah. So, wow. So that's one thing that I wanted.
Because they will play you.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one thing that I wanted to touch on. And I think that is very, very important, because I see this all the time. Also, a lot of people say they want me to do this extra work. I'm not doing this extra work.
That's your job, though.
When I have people that say, oh, I'm going to uptrain, when I say, I told the agent, I'm going to have you uptrain. Is this more pay? It's not always about pay, sweetheart.
Right.
It's not always about pay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of us have that mentality that, and we are literally shooting ourselves in the foot, because there could be more of us in those leadership roles. There could be more of us, but we, number one, we don't know how to go about doing it.
Right.
And then number two, we have that mentality where I'm not doing no extra shit. Well, how do you think you're going to get into a leadership role?
You know what? That's a great point, sis, because I see posts, same as you, on the book, on Twitter, wherever, all the time, where it's, I'm not going to do, or I'm walking in the door and my boss ain't finna just tell me. And that's your job. Your job is to do. And you can't, on one hand, complain about not getting paid enough, not getting enough hours, and then on the other hand, in the same breath, though, talk about what you not doing. And
you're not even doing the job that they're paying you for now.
Right.
You're not.
How you telling your boss what you ain't finna do?
Yeah.
Your job is to do what they put in front of you to do. You have these tasks, and sometimes a lot of times maybe you gonna get stuff put in front of you that technically ain't your job to do.
Right.
But guess what? That's how you prove your value.
But and this is the thing, though, because a lot of people do not read when they apply for these jobs. They don't read.
That's a good point.
They don't read. Like, my job literally says that I could be lifting boxes.
Right.
Guess what? Shorty ain't lifting a box. Okay. But if they tell me to lift the box, it's in my job description.
Right.
So guess what? Get the lifting, B.
Right. Okay. Now here's another one. Let's go cross-cultural. And there is another point you brought up that I don't want to let pass. I don't know if you realize you said it, but it's a good one. But there's this thing that when I worked for the global company that I work for, huge, hundreds of thousands of employees around the world, right? There was this Indian man who was a leader of some team that spanned like from California to Milwaukee and then all the way back to India, whole centers of people. Like he literally managed like hundreds of employees, right? He had this tagline that he would always say, and at first I thought it was rude. I took it as rude because of where I'm from,
right,
and the way I was raised.
Right.
But now it's one of the best things that, like, I say even to my children. And it's this. It's so simple. He will always say, do the needful. And I thought it was rude because in the context of the situations he would say it in, it's almost like get it done or go and get, go and do that. But in reality, it's a great mantra because at the end of the day, what do we do when we work these jobs? We're constantly, if you want more, you have to do more naturally. That's just the way that it works. No, I don't think in any field it's any different. So to say do the needful, when the needful happens, we can all stand around and look for the next person next to us or behind us or in them stairs, in them seats or whatever. We can wait for somebody to do it. But at the end of the day, if there's something needful that needs to be done, somebody's got to do it.
Somebody got to do it.
And guess who's going to get all of the accolades and all of the love and all of the props from doing the needful? The person who did it.
Exactly.
So guess what I started doing? I started saying, you know what? Okay, cool. There's this job that everybody hates doing. In my field, nobody likes doing certain things, right? One of them things is nobody likes doing security remediations because that means you got to go change a bunch of settings on a bunch of servers and a bunch of systems and Nobody loves patching, right? Security patching. And we in the era where cybersecurity is like ACE number one priority, right? Well, since nobody else wants to do this shit, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to do that shit. And I'm going to do it better than anybody ever did it.
Yep.
And guess what that has afforded me?
Yep.
Security. Guess what that's afforded me? Promotions. That's put me in positions where now I'm training people. I'm doing the thing that I just told you earlier. I don't even like doing. I don't like dealing with these motherfuckers, man.
Right.
I don't.
Right.
But it has to get done.
Absolutely.
The point that I wanted to circle back on now, because that was such an important one. You mentioned having to remind people of who you are. And I think also what you are, meaning like your position, your stature, right? And I wrote down earlier as a note, I also feel like for us that there's a severe lack of, how can I put this? There's a lack of understanding or respect for the differences in the layers between the people that we are cool with that are our coworkers, the people who are in positions to be, I guess, our mentors maybe, versus those who are competition.
Yep.
And I think there's way too many of us who look at each other in these places as competition, as the enemy.
Yep.
Now, I ain't gonna say that there aren't some of us or a lot of us that do treat each other in that way. Like, oh no, you ain't gonna be the black person that gets over here or whatever. And you know what I'm saying? And that's because I'm fighting for that job too. But it shouldn't be about us versus us.
Right.
And there, I feel like there used to be a time, and I hate to sound like the old motherfucker, but like, our grandparents' era, our parents' era even, where like it was, all right, bro.
Yeah.
What up, sis?
Yeah.
And we can be congratulatory to each other because as long as one of us get it,
exactly,
then we won some kind of battle. Whereas now it's like so many of us look at each other like, no, not you. Yeah. Well, why not?
Right. Yep. And I went to a job interview. And in that job interview, there were 3 people in there. 2 were black young ladies.
Okay.
1 was a white lady. One of the young ladies, and I'm gonna call her a bitch.
That's fair.
She looked at me, and what she said to me was, "You look like you already a lead or a supervisor." I wasn't going for a supervisor or a team lead position. She was the team lead.
Right. But what's wrong with you looking the part?
I got the job. And the capacity in which they used me in.
Okay.
She was very threatened by that.
Right.
because number one, again, I know my job.
Right.
I'm the person, I'm gonna go to a company and I'm gonna find out everything that I can find out.
Yep.
I'm gonna find out the why. I'm gonna find out the why.
Yes.
I'm not that person that you can tell me, oh, this, that, and the third. And I, in turn, I do that for my agents. And I do that for my kids.
Yeah.
If I tell you, don't go in this aux, it's gonna mess up your adherence. I'm gonna tell you now the reason why.
I tell my kids all the time, not to interrupt you real quick. This is literally all my kids. I've told them from the minute they could talk, the most important thing to know in any situation you ever find yourself in is why. Why did you even end up in that position in the first place?
Yep.
Whether it was your own decision making, whether it was you following the wrong motherfuckers. Why is this system not working the way that I want it to work?
Right.
Why didn't I get this job?
Yep.
Why did I fail in this interview? Why did I win? Why did I succeed? When you understand the why, can't nobody tell you nothing.
And I think that's where I started to really, my mind started to really be like, okay, you know what? I got this corporate shit down because now I understand the why.
Yep.
I understand and what I said in my interview to be a supervisor. And, they say, oh, why you? Bitch, why not me?
Right. Right.
But I said, because I understand both sides. I can understand the business aspect of it.
Yep.
I understand that your adherence need to be at 92%. I know that at the end of the year, as a supervisor, if my team adherence is not at 92%, I'm not getting no bonus.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna push adherence
until
you motherfuckers get it.
Right.
And I'm gonna push it afterwards. Because I want my bonus. But then not only that, I want, like I told my agents, I want you to be able to go to your agency because they're contracted. I want you to be able to go to your agency and say, it's the end of the year.
Right.
I've done this, that, and third. I want to be able to get a raise.
Right.
Why shouldn't you?
If you win, they win. Because you can't win without them.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
I hear you.
And so, me trying to explain the why to them. And some people they still don't get it. They still don't understand it. But then those people, I'm learning, you have to they gonna show themselves out.
Right.
They're gonna show themselves out the door. There's no reason and keep, badgering and hounding them.
Yep.
But yes, I totally think that like we give ourselves the most problems. I think it's very disheartening, getting back to that young lady. I think it's very disheartening that bitch. It's very disheartening that she was actually one of the major reasons why I left that company.
Okay.
Because of her, because I knew that if she was there, I would never get a promotion. I would never, because that's what she did.
Her mission was going to be the block.
Yeah. And that's what she did. I don't give a fuck if she's listening or watching.
I hope she is.
But that's basically what that's what she did. Like she did a lot of stuff. And so I'm glad I got out when I did.
Right.
But just working, and she's a lead, and then her having to, because I'm kind of being groomed for that, or now you upset and you mad,
right? And
you think I'm finna take your job. I'm not trying to take your job. I am.
But if she was doing her job,
it wouldn't be an issue,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But it's just it is what it is. But I think that we have to stop doing that.
Agreed.
We have to stop understanding that if I come to you, regardless if you my brother, you my black brother, once we in that, and I come to you and I tell you I need you to go into whatever, or you supposed to be doing this, that, and the third, as your supervisor, you should be the one to listen to me more.
Right.
You should be the one to show me as much respect and as you possibly can, because guess what? When I'm when I'm in my supervisor role is to make sure that that my agents on my team,
right.
And I pulled a couple of them and I said, listen, come on. This is not Bianca supervisor talking to you.
Right.
This is Sister Bianca. Get your shit together.
Right.
Because you about to get fired.
Yep.
You're about to get fired. Get your shit together.
I've had that conversation before.
Holidays are coming. Get your shit together, boo.
And the fact that you even given the heads up should be enough to earn, you know what I'm saying? That take this in, take this to heart.
Yeah.
I'm looking out for you right now. I'm not your enemy.
Yep. My first year.
Your enemy would just let you fall off.
Exactly. My first year as a supervisor, my metrics or my review, I got a 5 in internal customer service.
Okay.
And my manager said she had never given a 5 to anybody. And she said it was because when they gave the survey or whatever to my agents, that's what they said. We can trust her.
Okay.
You know, we know that she believes in us and we know that we can come to her and we can talk to her.
Yeah.
But since then, they still can, but I had to tweak because, you know, the numbers ain't looking right.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm going to be nice.
Yeah.
But you going to get your shit together on this end.
And that's what I've been struggling with. And I could definitely take some pointers from you on this, is that whole, when it's time to be like, yo, you fucking up, finding that balance of approach, because I can deal with my kids with the kitty gloves.
Right.
It's hard for me to deal with grown folks.
When your ass already supposed to, you know what you're here for.
Right. Now here's a subject. I don't want to turn too far, but talking about us, have you ever felt, or actually, let me rephrase that. Do you feel that you get different results from your interactions with brothers versus sisters? Like, do you feel like you have more issues with being in a leadership position and dealing with, I hate the term subordinates, but direct reports, I think is a better way.
Honestly, yeah. There's a vast difference. Men, my men agents, they love me. They do what I say. No issues from them at all. Really? None. Okay. I had one agent who, you know, to not get too personal. Yeah. But I think he was just tired of doing the job. Okay. But as far as respect, as far as giving me any type of issues or anything like that, none whatsoever. Like, I literally didn't have to talk to these men. Now the women, they absolutely give issues. Okay. They absolutely, especially those who are older than me. Okay. Older than you, but not on your same. Right. Yep. Okay. And for me, I love older people. Probably because I'm an old lady on the inside. Yep. I just had me some fried green tomatoes today. But I love older people. You made them, didn't you? Oh, of course. Ain't bring me none. Ain't that? And you knew I was coming up in here. Man, listen. I just got my car. I had to get my car fixed. I ain't tripping. I'm just giving you shit. But next time though, I usually be trying to have some food or something. Word. So I don't be while he's talking crazy. Oh, I'll be over here smacking too. You better invite me back. Oh, I will. Okay. But the women, you know, I have this older lady and I have such a hard time with her. Okay. Such a hard time. And I think it's because, number one, I think they think that I'm younger than what I am. So I know I can understand why. Yeah. that's a very big issue. When I told folks how old I was turning, it was just uproar. Right. But but then also, you know, they're a bit slower and I'm a little bit blunt on the blunt side. Yep. But the thing is that I've learned, and this will help you with your question earlier. How do you get through to people?
Yep.
I've learned to develop a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a relationship with each one of my agents.
Okay.
Now I have about 15. I went to surgery, and then some of them.
Yep.
Because I told them.
Right.
I had a meeting before my surgery, and I said, hey, some of y'all will not be here when I get back.
Yeah.
But I told y'all. So anyway, but I have a relationship with each one of my agents. Mm-hmm. Every single day, I touch one of my agents.
Okay.
Meaning I reach out to them, I give them their stats, I give them encouragement or something like that. So everything that I say is not just a negative.
Right.
I come with a positive, and then I do the double whammy.
Okay.
You know, hey, I love that you show up for work every day, but your adherence is still at 85%, and I need you to get that shit together ASAP.
Right.
Thank you, smiley face emoji.
How much of your day do you feel like is relationship management versus
80%, 90%?
Okay. And that's what I kind of thought.
Because I feel like in leadership, it's not personal. Yes, it's not, you're supposed to like me, but you want your people to like you.
Oh, no doubt.
You want your people to respect you. You want your people to know that I got y'all.
Right.
I was gone for 3 weeks.
Yep.
And they asses was in shambles.
I believe it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was getting text messages. I had to block some of them because I told them I'm not answering my phone.
Right.
I had to disable, the Teams from Microsoft Teams from my phone.
Yep.
Because I would see all the, can I get help? Can I get help? And it would piss me off.
Right.
So I just make sure that they know that you're there and that you got their back. And then when I came back, I jumped right in. And I was like, hey, I'm back. Let's have a meeting. And in the meeting, I said, I know.
Right. Empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go, because you in your career, it sounds like from what you said earlier, your career really started taking off once you had that experience where you were empowered.
Right.
What are some of the things that you do to empower your direct reports now, your agents now?
I give them, because remember I said they're contracted.
Yep.
So when there's positions that's available that's hiring permanently, hey, get this position.
Right. But obviously you gotta cherry pick who.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. That's just like, when you refer somebody to a job.
Yep.
I don't refer people to a job who I know don't work.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Let me see your resume. Send it to me.
Yep.
And then I got you. But I make sure that, they know what's available to them. And then I even tell them, I say, hey, y'all are empowered.
Right.
Listen, this shit that y'all doing you do this shit every day.
Right.
Every day.
Yep.
You may be dealing with somebody in a different state, but it's all pretty much the same. So you are empowered to make decisions. I told them, I said, if y'all need to learn how to professionally finesse these people.
Right.
And get them the fuck off your phone. I'm not talking to nobody for 30 minutes.
Right.
Even about my own business. If I'm calling somewhere and it's a wait, 5 minutes, no, bitch.
Right.
I will send you an email. Get back to me, please. Thank you.
Time is money, right?
For real. And I ain't got it.
Right.
So, I make sure, and, and I tell them, you are empowered to make these decisions. And then I tell them too, y'all grown.
Right.
I can't make a decision for you. If you feel like you don't feel good, and this is one of the worst things, and she's not a Black woman or a person of color. However, this was one of the things that really, really touched me. One of my agents actually recently passed away.
Okay.
She had seizures, but her seizures, the last 2 weeks, her seizures has gotten more and more increasingly more. So she would send me a message saying, "Hey, Bianca, I'm leaving. I just had a seizure. Fine, no problem. I'm not tripping.
Take care of you.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, take care of you.
Right.
Her last day of work, she left because she had a seizure. Never called in. Other than that,
right.
Never called in. Never. You know, she will always. Can I leave? I don't feel good. Listen.
Right.
Y'all are grown.
Right.
I remember I told somebody I was leaving because I wasn't feeling good.
Right.
And they said, "Oh, you don't have the PTO." I said, I wasn't asking.
Right.
I was telling.
Yep.
I could take that L.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grown.
Yep.
My paycheck already aligned.
Yeah.
You know, now I'm salary. So it's like, bitch, I'm off.
Right.
You know? But in you know, long story short, come back the next day or the next week on a Monday, and I'm sitting here and I'm literally looking at her name like, why is she not here? You know, I hope everything is okay. Boom, I get an email. She passed away.
Yeah, that hurt.
And it hurt because it's like, well, what if she, you know, if she would have took some time off? And I even asked her, I said, do you think you need some time off?
Right.
You know, because this is, you know, whatever. But I don't, you know. So, you know, with us, and that's like a catch-22 because it's like you want to work, but then it's like I got a personal life that's going on.
Right.
You know, and for my agents, they really can't have that work-life balance.
Right.
You know, it's
because they contract
for them. Exactly.
Yep.
And it's hard for them because they don't have PTO. They you know, they can take time off, temp time off, but they still don't get paid.
Right.
They don't have holiday time.
Yep.
You know, so it's tough. You know, and it's like, because of that, I've lived that life. I lived that life of being like, you know, a single parent and having 3 young babies and trying to figure out, oh shit, the daycare is closed. Guess what? You got occurrences. And me saying, I don't give a fuck, bitch. My kids come first.
Yep.
You know, having to make them decisions and saying, I'm going to find me another job before you fire me because you won't evict me.
Right.
And you won't fire me.
Hey, God ain't stop making jobs at them.
And you won't break up with me. Those are the 3 things. I won't get evicted. I won't get fired, and you won't break up with me. I will get you first.
You bad. No. You bad.
But this was an awesome discussion. I would love to have you back for the next one, because the next one, the next episode, what I want to do is I want to do like a entrepreneurial, and I know that you have I don't know if you want to call it entrepreneurial. I know you have your albums and things like that.
Yeah, definitely is. A little less these days, but yeah, there was definitely a point where I was getting it.
Okay. So yeah. I definitely want to talk about that. I want to talk about the differences. And then we'll have a couple other people on too that I already got in my back pocket.
Bet.
But I wanted to leave with just a couple of things and a couple of gems, I guess you can say, that we talked about.
Yeah.
Which could possibly help you decide whether or not you want to maneuver into a leadership role.
Right.
Which I've actually with our sister, you know, I've been talking to her like we literally talk all day. And so she's now being groomed in that direction.
Okay.
And you know, I just
go on,
like,
sis.
I'm so proud of you. Because I know that she herself is not that, you know,
right.
But she got it. And I love it.
Real quick, I'll get personal, right? So when I got into that field, when I got into the IT field, and I say like I felt like I wasn't even supposed to be there, like I'm a convicted felon. You know what I'm saying? I done did all kind of street stuff, and then I changed my life for a number of beautiful, fantastic reasons.
Right.
And so now I feel like every day that I go to work, it's a struggle to maintain not falling back into those old habits.
Yeah.
Even when it's just behavioral. So So thank you for wanting to
You're
share these
welcome.
gems and whatnot with me, and even just
Mm-hmm.
trying to groom me, so to speak, to go in that other direction. Because while I feel like I'm able to do anything I put my mind to,
Mm-hmm.
it's just certain things that
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'm constantly struggling
Mm-hmm.
with. So
Yeah, and I think, and I think it's important. Number one, that that I had you here because number one, you're my brother.
mhm.
For everybody else, really. But I wanted to have you here more because I wanted to show people that it is possible. You know, you have
Mhm.
so many people that say, "Oh, I'm a felon," and I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people out there, or a lot of men, a lot of black men,
Yep.
that think they can't get into corporate, or they kind of shy away from it because of they have felonies,
They
or
feel like they stuck having to go
Mhm.
from job to job
Mhm.
instead of actually
Mhm.
being able to cultivate and build careers
Mhm.
in certain
Mhm.
fields. Like,
Mhm.
and again, you bringing this up is great
Mhm.
because like from my perspective, there's a serious issue at a cultural level with us with not respecting genuine knowledge,
Yeah.
like just knowing shit.
Yeah.
And we walk around with these things, these
Mhm.
phones with the
Mhm.
whole history of knowledge of America,
and
not
won't
even
even look
American,
at it.
human history, right?
Yeah.
And we use it for the dumbest shit
Mhm.
instead of the
Mhm.
ways that we can go about making our lives better and our
Mhm.
families' lives better.
Yeah.
You know what the number one thing is I use? I went from a guy who was sitting in jail,
Mhm.
sitting in prison, to I learned how to Google.
Mhm.
And now I work in a high-rise building
Mhm.
downtown. I feed my family, I feed my family's family, and I'm paying for houses that I ain't even stepped foot in.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So to your point, yeah,
Mhm.
anybody can do it,
Mhm.
but you gotta want it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The want is there. And I think that's one of the major points that we need to know as African Americans, as
Mhm.
black people, as niggas, as
Yep. Hey, you
whatever,
said it.
however you want to say it.
Amen.
I think that's an important point that we need to know, is that it is possible.
Yep.
It is possible. I have so many females on my team who they have smaller children, and like I said, I had to tell the young lady, you got to figure it out.
Yep.
You have to put your big girl panties on, and you have to figure it out.
Ain't nobody gonna save you.
Yeah. And if you need help, you need to say that. If you need if you need a day off, if you need a couple of days off, let me know.
Yep.
I know a guy. I can make some shit happen.
We can't help you if we don't know you need help.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I think one of the biggest points that we need to emphasize, or that we, through this whole thing that we kind of talked about, is just the want of getting it done.
Yep.
Of just doing it, and not feeling like it's a burden. Just wanting to work
and not feeling entitled to shit.
Right. You can't feel entitled. I don't know this. I'm sorry, y'all. My tag
don't
scratching me.
my whole thing. Don't nobody owe us shit.
Mm-hmm.
Don't nobody owe you nothing.
Absolutely.
So when you embrace that mentality, that ain't nobody gonna give you shit. Don't nobody owe you nothing. It's amazing how much bigger the world can actually get for you, and opportunities just open up, because now you ain't looking at the world like in this box of feeling like gimme. Exactly. Somebody I'm just supposed to wake up and all of a sudden in the mail I got a check. No, it don't work like that.
It shit, not at all. God damn it. And I think
it ain't supposed to work like that.
Right. And I think, we again, to the point of a lot of men, and I don't want to, because we're gonna end it soon.
Yeah.
But to the point where, we're looking at social media, and we're looking at everybody's living these, bougie black girl lives, and that's wonderful. Like, I love to see it.
Right.
I love to see it, because really in my head, that I'm there in my head.
Yep.
but you know, outwardly, like I'm in my head, I'm so organized, I'm efficient, you know, and those are some of my things.
Yep.
However, I live in a cloud. I'm a Pisces. I'm a dreamer.
Word.
So I want to be that way, but I'm not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I don't hate it when I see it. It just makes me aspire to more.
Right.
And I posted something, and I'm gonna end with this. I posted something and it said, it was a video, a reel, and it said, "You may not see me often, but when you see me," this is from what movie was that? Denzel.
Oh, sure.
Frank White.
Oh, American Gangster.
Yeah. He said, "You may not see me, but when you do see me, I'm either thinking about getting money wherever I am.
Yep.
I'm thinking about getting money here. I done made money here, or I intend on making money here, or I'm picking money up, or something like that."
Right.
And literally, that is my mindset. Either way,
yep.
I'm thinking about money. I'm this podcast. I'm trying to figure out how me and Tone can make some money.
Amen.
Me, because Tone rich. But that's, you know, that's my goal. Is, and I know money don't make you happy and, you know, all that good stuff, but
hell it don't. Don't do that.
Well,
I'm sorry. This your podcast.
But for real, like I really don't think that. My daughter asked me this a while ago. She asked me this and she said, "Mama," she said, "do you think that money makes you happy?"
Right.
And I said, honestly, well, it may make you happy. Well, this is what I told her. I said, it may make you happy, but it will not give you joy.
Agreed.
Because
100%.
when your money is gone,
mm-hmm.
you're not happy anymore.
Right.
Happy is
Amen.
Subjective.
Yep. Happy
is based upon what's going around me.
Yes.
Now, whereas me having actual joy, I'm just jumping out the bed and I'm just happy, joyous, and you know, that's totally different.
Right. Agreed.
But I mean, yeah, you give me a couple $1,000, I'm gonna be happy as fuck.
Yep.
I'm gonna be happy as fuck.
Oh, yep. You're right.
Right. With that being said, I don't know who the two viewers are, but y'all late.
Y'all miss one.
But you can definitely run it back, and listen, and don't forget to download. You can download the podcast, I believe, on Google, the Androids, and then also iPhones.
Google Pods.
Okay, that's the name of it.
Google Podcasts. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you can do it on there. Make sure that you all tune in. Next episode, we are going to be talking about entrepreneurship, Black entrepreneurship, some of the challenges that we face within the industries that we are in. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for joining. Thank you so much to my brother. This is our 5th episode. Woo!
Thank you for having me. And just in every episode, keep getting better and better.